All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Facebook. This is Coach Monique Beck, your licensed finance coach, getting you prepared for 2023. All right, with a solid financial game plan. And today I'm going to be talking to you. I'm going to be talking to you guys about why you need a solid financial game plan for 2023. I'm going to be hitting you with 7 different things that you need over these next 7 days. And so you're going to have to tune in, okay? You are going to have to tune in to get these nuggets because I promise you, they will change your life, okay? So I want you to listen in and tune in. So the first things first, okay? I got my book here, so I got to pull my stuff out and make sure I stay on task. I only want to be on here for about 5 minutes or so. And so first and foremost, why do you need a financial game plan? Because you work hard, right? You work hard every single day, bringing in the money, right? Bringing in the bacon, bringing home the donuts, however you want to say it. You are the source of income for your family. And even if you are not the sole source of income for your family, you do have someone that is providing for you, right? And so because of that, you want to make sure that you have a grip on the money that is coming into your household. Why is it so important to have a grip on the money coming into your household? Because that is how you survive. That's how you live. That's how you make it day to day. I want to hit you with a couple of quotes that I found very interesting, which kind of talks about hard work, because I believe that in our culture today, we believe that if I work hard, I deserve to play hard, which inevitably that's really how it should work. But we got to be careful not to be working hard and still not working hard, but we got to be careful to be playing hard and we have not fulfilled our obligations. Our obligations are important because when we put our name on something and we say that we're going to do it, we want to be people of integrity, right? And so if I go out and get a car loan, I want to make sure I pay them back. I don't want to have to go to collections and do all of this stuff because I want to be a woman of my word, right? And so we know that legendary women are women of integrity. They are women of their word. And so we want to be sure that we are doing the right things with our money. So first and foremost, do the best you can until you know better. When you know better, you do better. That is a quote by Maya Angelou. So how many times have you heard it said, when you know better, you do better? Well, we always say that, but at the end of the day, the whole quote is do the best you can until you know better. See, we have been doing the best we could with the information that we got. When I have a conversation, I look like hold on, y'all. Let me fix this. That's better. Okay. That's better for me. All right. And so when I have a conversation with people and I ask them, what did you learn about money growing up? Normally, I get responses like, I learned that money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard for your money. There's a lot of different things that we learn. We learned how to count money. We learned how to spend money very easily. Nobody had to teach us that. Okay. We learned that we had to pay our bills. Right. Some of us learned about making payment arrangements, whatever education that we learned about money, that was our foundation. And so if we go back to the quote by Maya Angelou, do the best you can until you know better. When you know better, do better. See, some of us are still basing our financial decisions on that information that we received when we were in kindergarten. Okay. That information that we received as a teenager. And sometimes you have to go back and question, okay, did I receive all the information that I needed for this day and age, for this time that I'm in right now? Is this going to be enough to take me all the way down through retirement? Is it going to be enough for me to send my kids to college? Is it going to be enough? Because when you look at the sources and the people that have given you that information, right, in the past, then are they free, right? Have they achieved a place or have they gotten to a place that you have not gotten yet? And I'm not just talking about paying your bills on time, because a lot of people can pay their bills on time. I'm talking about living a life of abundance, okay? And so because you work hard, you should have some money. But we got to take a look to see, well, why? What is the issue? What is the problem? If there is a problem. Because I truly believe that just throwing more money at a situation is not always the solution, even though it may seem like that. But that's not always the solution. Another quote I want to give you is this: I am who I am because of the choices I made yesterday. That is a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, listen, we all have made mistakes when it comes to our money. Of course we have, right? Of course we're going to buy something that we can't afford every now and then. Of course we're going to spend a little bit too much money when we go to the movies, when we could have did some different stuff, right? But we spending $50 at the movies for no apparent reason because we want to have a good time. We've made some questionable choices with our money over time. But that's the past, though. We're talking about advancing to 2023, where we don't know what's going to happen with our economy. We don't know what's going to happen with inflation. We have no idea. So we got to be prepared. We have to know what we're doing. We got to know what's coming in and what's going out so we can make better decisions and also be positioned to take advantage of some of the things that the wealthy right now can take advantage of because they got the money to do it. Okay, so that was another quote. I have another quote that I want to share with you as we're going on. As you guys are coming on, say something to me because I can't tell who is on right now. Well, I can't tell anyway. So we shared those two quotes. Another quote right here says, "Hard work spotlights the character of people. Some turn up their sleeves, some turn up their noses, and some don't turn up at all." That's by Sam Ewing. Okay. And so some people will do what it takes, right? Some people will go through the process to get their money in order. Some people say, well, it's too much work. And if we go back to the previous quote, it says, I am who I am today because of the choices I made yesterday. So what new choices are we going to make to get our money game straight? Right? Are we going to continue making the same bad choices, having the same bad habits we had in 2022 and letting that carry over to 2023? Are we going to wait until January 1st to say, listen, I want to go ahead and get my money together? Because guess what? The rest of the world is saying the same thing. But 90% of the goals that people set in January, they don't come to pass. They don't look at them. They try them for 3 weeks and they quit. Right. And so what is going to be different for your financial situation in 2023 if you're not doing anything to change that now? Hey there, girlie. How you doing? How you doing? Yes. Right. And so we got to be so careful that we are not getting into the status where we are a broken record, where we're literally saying what we're going to do over and over and over again, and it's never happening. When we say that to other people, they looking at us like, yeah, okay, we know she not going to do it. We know she not going to do it because she always say what she going to do and she never does it. Not that it matters what anybody says, but how do you feel when you say that you're going to do something that you actually don't do? So if we go back to Maya Angelou's quote, she said, listen, do the best you can until you know better. But when you know better, do better. We got to do better, okay? We got to do better with our money. Here's another one. Whatever we believe about ourselves and our ability comes true for us. That's by Susan Taylor. She's a journalist. Whatever we believe about ourselves and our ability comes true for us. We got to be so careful how we are wording our mouths and cursing our finances. Some of us say we'll always be broke. I'll never have any money. I'm always going to struggle. And guess what? Whatever you speak is what it's going to be. We got to guard our words. We got to guard our ears. We got to not surround ourselves by negative people who want to pull us back into the pit where they are because they're not trying to do anything. Regardless of what they're trying to do, you got to remember what your goal is. You got to remember what your why is. Why do you want to be financially independent anyway? Why do you want to have money anyway? Some people don't just want to get on a yacht, and go around the world and travel, which is nothing wrong with that. But that's not their only reason for being financially sound. Some people just want to have a comfortable life. Some people just don't want to struggle. And so what does that look like when you start putting the pieces together to see where you are, right? This is where I was, this is where I am, and that's where I'm going. And so I believe that for the majority of people, they think that they're going to be able to accomplish something that they're never going to be able to do because they're not willing to make the sacrifices or put in the work. Now, that is really a gambler's mentality. I'm going to be able to put a little bit in and have a whole lot come out. That is not the reality of any situation. Now, maybe when you go to the casino, you can do that, but you can't do that in the real world. You cannot do that and expect to reap a harvest. See, biblical principles says, whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. Right. And so there has to be a sowing that takes place. There has to be something that goes down into the ground that is now covered up for a season, that is watered, and now that will grow. But it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen just simply because we want it to happen. And as much as I see people on my timeline manifesting, listen, it's not going to happen with your manifestations. I'm sorry, I said it, right? But what's going to happen is going to have to be hard work. It's going to be hard work because it took work for us to get where we're at. And so it's going to take work for us to undo what we did and then go a little bit further down the road. Because ultimately, we do not have a limitless amount of time. We do not have an unlimited amount of time in order for us to be successful at anything in this world, period. We have a time limit. And we got to act like we got a time limit. It's about to be 2023 and nobody can believe how fast this year went by. But because it went by so fast, we coming up on the Christmas season. People about to buy a bunch of gifts. They finances is all over the place, right? They want to say, wait until January so I can, look at my money. But what about your money right now? Are you that afraid to tell your kids, we not buying no gifts this year? Because mommy and daddy gonna get their money in order? No, we grown. We are grown. We tell them what it's gonna be. They don't get to dictate and determine what we're gonna do with our money because we paying the bills. And so if they gotta be disappointed, then they gotta be disappointed. I'd rather them be disappointed than to be struggling and I have to tell them that they can't go to college because I haven't saved any money because I was too busy buying them Christmas gifts. I'm just being real today. And that's the type of coach that I am. I'm just serious. Okay. And so that's another quote. Let me see if I had another one before I let y'all go. I think that was the last one I wanted to share. I don't want to put too much out there, but over the next 7 days, I am going to be doing this live. I don't know what time it'll be, but I'm going to be talking about getting a solid financial game plan for 2023. But how about this for 2022 and beyond? Not just 2023. Okay, we're not going to wait just like the world does till January 1st to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm about to get in my bag. I'm about to be chasing this bag, right? But at the end of the day, I don't want to have to chase the bag. I don't want to chase the bag. I want the bag to chase me. How about that? Right? I want to be financially sound. I want my money to compound. I don't want to have to work hard for the rest of my life trying to figure out how am I going to make this dollar out of 15 cents because I don't have a long time to do that. And so I got to get with somebody, licensed finance coach, who can help me to strategize with what I need to do. And once I have my plan and I work my plan and I get my routine going, then I'm going to become successful. And so if you look at the habits and the patterns of successful people, they're doing the same type of things. They just do it a little bit more. They just remain consistent. They just make sure they get the job done. They just make sure they don't quit until the job gets done. So I want to encourage you guys. Why do you need a financial game plan? Because you're already working hard. So why don't you allow your money to work hard for you? Change that up. We don't have to do back-breaking work to bring home the bacon. Allow your money to be put in a place where it can do that for you.